For many worshipers, it's becoming a familiar sight. Armed officers and guards stationed outside as they pray inside. Within hours of Saturday's attack, the NYPD had ramped up security at synagogues.
Not only do we want to make people feel safe, but we want to, in fact, make them safe.
When I see these vans and the officers out here, that's a deterrent.
It is. It's an omnipresence. We want to let people know. We want to let the good people know that we're out here and we're capable of protecting them. We want to let the bad people know it's a warning.
James Waters is the chief of counterterrorism for the NYPD. He says their approach is proactive.
We talk to the houses of worship all the time. We give them classes, tell them what to look for.
It was just 6 months ago, 11 people were killed at Pittsburgh's Tree of Life synagogue. But all faiths have been targeted in the recent wave of violence. Christians in Sri Lanka, Muslims in New Zealand. Just 2 weeks ago, a man was arrested attempting to enter St. Patrick's Cathedral with gas cans and lighters. The often common link among attackers, online forums where violent threats appear to foment.
Is it a difficult thing to weigh in terms of what's a threat and what is just, talk?
Well, it's a fine line that people claim it's freedom of speech, but we sometimes look at it, and if it's concerning, if it's threatening in any way, we take a very close look at that.
Joshua Davidson is the senior rabbi at New York's Temple Emmanuel.
When houses of worship have to begin to guard their doors the way they are now, then that really undermines the very effort that we aspire to.
Yet these stone barriers sit just outside the temple, subtle and decorative, but grim reminders of too many headlines.
Are people genuinely scared? Are they talking to you guys?
I think it's more of an awareness, and we tell them, don't be scared. Take that nervous feeling that you have and channel that into some positive energy, and know that the police can protect them.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.